I'm here today to present to you an investment opportunity on a scale unlike any other. And keep listening, because this is for all of you. It's a sort of pay-it-forward scheme with massive long-term benefits for every sector. It has decades of potential, a global network, and a determination to revolutionize the world. I want you to invest in me. My name is Clara Gray, and I just turned 18. Over the last few years, I've interviewed experts from the United Nations to influence governments. I've run a campaign with a Scottish presiding officer, and I've presented to world-leading children's rights champions. Invest in me, and who knows what I could achieve. But I'm not special. Our schools, communities, and workplaces are filled to the brim with young people like me. Like Isla, who hasn't started school yet, but is excited for the stickers when she does. Like Felix, who campaigns for trans rights, and I've only met once, but would love to get to know better. Like Anya, who I tackled a 3-hour-long scavenger hunt with and is brilliant at coding. I want you to invest in them, and in every single child and young person on the planet. Myself and the other 2.3 billion children in the world have the right to express our views freely in all matters affecting us. That's Article 12 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We make up almost 1/3 of the world's population, yet the vast majority of us don't get to vote. We're rarely respected when we voice our opinions, and our ideas are often spoken to unhearing ears. The UNCRC also goes on to state that our views should be taken seriously. Investing in us allows us to exercise this right fully. And I'm throwing around this word investing, which usually has to do with money, and sure, donating to children's organizations and charities that are already investing in and empowering young people is great. But I'm going to highlight a few of the ways in which you can invest in children and young people with your time, your effort, your support, to ensure that our views are represented. But first, let me tell you about a few people who've invested in me recently. The team here at the Open University, who picked me to speak to you today. All the people who I forced to sit and listen to me practice this talk. And you. You've invested in me just by sitting there. So thank you. Your investment means a lot. I've met loads of incredible people and learnt an awful lot. And right now, I'm feeling pretty damn empowered. When children and young people feel empowered, they can do incredible things. Like the young people writing and performing poetry about their experiences in care with Lem Sissy that was made into a documentary. Like the young people of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, who founded the March for Our Lives campaign to end gun violence in America. Like the millions of children inspired by Greta Thunberg who organized school strikes, sacrificing their right to education for their right to life, for the sake of the climate emergency. Like the children and young people up and down our country who are volunteering to make positive changes within our local communities. It's brilliant, but there's a problem. Adults often relate to children from a position of authority, whether that be because you're a teacher, a parent or carer, or simply because you're older and therefore think yourself wiser. And I'm not trying to pick a fight here. I appreciate that the knowledge and experience that comes with age should be valued. But I know that there is infinite merit in the ideas and perspectives of children that simply cannot be dismissed. One of the ways in which you can invest in children and young people within organizations and companies is by creating leadership roles for us. For example, the National Theatre of Scotland has a position on their board of directors for a young person, or have a youth advisory panel, like the one supporting Sport Scotland. This power imbalance between adults and young people has led to the latter being the age group most at risk of social and economic exclusion. And the Convention on the Rights of the Child states that childhood is entitled to special care and assistance. We don't have the same political or economic power as you do. How many people under the age of 20 do you see involved in decision-making about public transport, or mental health services, or school curriculums? I haven't seen many, and I've been looking, because those are the areas where we make up a significant portion of the target market, and why wouldn't you have the service users contribute to designing the services that they receive? There's another way in which you can invest in children and young people is on social media. It's always nice to know that there's someone in your corner, and an encouraging comment under a post can go a long way. Don't underestimate the power your support can have. Within education, we need to remember that it's important to bring young people to the table for sure. But sometimes you need to bring the table to the young people, or just scrap the table entirely and sit on the floor. An easy way to do this is within education. I remember going on a trip to a local estate and learning about the forestry industry. And a chef from the hotel would do the catering with the home economics pupils, giving us taster sessions of what working in those industries would be like. We left feeling empowered because we were invested in and taught skills that we otherwise wouldn't have been. Finally, invest in children and young people by supporting the children in your lives, even if you're not a parent. Invest in them by helping them access opportunities. Drive them to swim meets or to athletic competitions. Help them with their application to be school prefect. Support and encourage them to get involved, to step out of their comfort zone, to use their voice and demand change, because yes, young people are the future. But I am a young person standing here in the present, and that is just as important. The definition of young person is a bit wishy-washy. It's safe to say that I'm a young person. But I'm also 18, and by law, that makes me an adult. So in one of my first official acts as a grown-up, I pledge to invest in children and young people in whatever way I can, using the people I've met and the skills I've got and my voice to make space for them in society where they aren't discriminated against because of their age, where their experiences are welcomed, not dismissed, where their successes are celebrated and they feel empowered to action the changes that they want to see. In Scotland, we have a word for people who do this. We call them unfearties. Unfearty. It comes from the Scots word feart, which means to be scared. So an unfearty is basically someone who's not scared. It was coined by the Scottish Children's Parliament, and I love it. I think everyone should be an unfearty. To conclude, I recognize that I am lucky and I am privileged. I'm lucky that I've heard about opportunities like this, and I felt confident enough to apply. I am privileged to be empowered to follow my interests and speak up for what I believe in. Because when you invest in children and young people, you also empower us, which establishes a precedent where we then empower our children and they empower theirs. But I don't want them to have to rely on luck and privilege. They deserve these opportunities just as much as I do. Today, I've come to you with a problem, a solution, and a legacy. My name is Clara Gray, and I just turned 18. But invest in me today, and together we can empower generations. Thank you.